Good morning or good evening, depending on what time it is. We're looking now at two-way tables, and these questions are very easy once you've worked out what the data means. We look at this example, which just comes straight out of the textbook. Year 11 students at Southbank College were surveyed on whether they had part-time jobs. Now you can see there, they've separated the data between male and the female students. We've got male students, 43, who had part-time work, and 27 that had no part-time work. We had female students, that 35 had part-time work, and 31 had no part-time work. Now, before I ever really jump into any of these questions, I think it's probably a good idea if we just make ourselves a bit more space and just write some notes down on the side. For instance, if you add the male students up, you find out that there's actually a total of 70 boys. And if you add up the female students, 35 plus 31, you'd find that there's a total of 66 girls. And you know what, while we're at it, I'm sure it can't hurt to add up that total, 670 plus 66. Well, that means that we're going to have, and you might need to grab a calculator for this one, guys, that's going to be 136 students in total. Alright, now, let's look at the questions. See if any of that work that we've done has actually helped us out. Question A, how many students are in Year 11 at Southbank College? Well, that's pretty easy. We've already done it. 136. Question B, alrighty, how many students had part-time work? Oh, you know what? I missed out a bit of working, but there's no real issue. Part-time work is the total of this number 43 and this number 35. 43 plus 35, you might need to reach for your calculator. What is it? 43 plus 35 equals, you got it, 78. So, there's a total of 78 students who had part-time work at this school. Question C. How many male students were in Year 11? Oh, that's already done. 70. Duh. Question D. What is the probability of selecting? Oh, okay, here's the challenging part. And I probably need more space for question D. Question D, part 1. What is the probability of selecting a student at random that, part 1, works part-time? Well, if we're just looking at all the students, it's going to be out of 136. And if we're looking for the probability of students, or probability of choosing a student that works part-time, well, we know that 78 students work part-time. So that's the unsimplified probability of someone who works part-time. Of course, guys, we know a bit better. We know that we can pick up our calculators, and let's see if you can pick yours up before I pick mine up, and get the answer by typing in 78 over 136. And the correct answer, or the simplified answer, is 39 out of 68. Okay, part 2. So remember, we're still doing question D. Is a female and works part-time? Okay, so we're not choosing from just the female students. We are still choosing from the total population, which is 136 students. But we are only talking about students who are female and work part-time. So that means it's going to be 35 over 136, and we need to check for common denominators here, common factors between the numerator and denominator. I'll just go 35 divided by 136 in my calculator. I might need to press the SD button to get it as a fraction, and that is actually the simplified answer, so you can move on. Part 3. Is male and doesn't work. Now if you're male and you don't work, which is good, you're actually a minority. You are 27, or one of 27 students out of a total of 136. Alright, so put in your calculator again, 27 divided by 136. Press the fraction button if it comes up as a decimal, and it stays the same. Okay, we're good. And question 4 doesn't work. Alright, so the total of students who don't work is 27 plus 31, and if I write over here, just around here, my total, 27 plus 31 is 58. So I have 58 over 136, and I know they're both even numbers, so if I type that into my calculator, I'll find the simple version of that, which is 29 over 68. Okay. Now, you might need to pause this and copy it down because I'm going to have to rub it all out. Okay, now we're up to question E. What is the probability of selecting a student working part-time given that the student is male or the student is female? So what is the probability of selecting a student working part-time given that the student is male? Alright, so what they're asking is, if we're only choosing from the male population, which is a total of 70, so that's what it's going to be out of, 70, what are the chances of choosing a student working part-time? And the answer to that question is 43 out of 70. And as always, we put it into our calculator to simplify it. And it is simplified already. Woohoo! Alright, so that was question I. Question I or 2 is student and female. Okay, so this is a very hard question because it's worded funnily. What is the probability of selecting a student working part-time given that the student is female? So we're only choosing from the student population, which means that we are only choosing from a total of 66 girls. So, if we're choosing from a total of 66 girls, of those 66 girls, only 35 of them work part-time, so it's going to be 35 over 66 as usual. Put it into your calculator just to be sure. 35 over 66 equals, and it's the same answer, so we're good. And that's it for this example.